Mario and Luigi. Awesomeness. What if we get both of the bros, combine them together, and make Mario and Luigi? On paper, that sounds like a fantastic idea. Mario and Luigi has always been the one Mario and Luigi RPG series that's been on top of any other Mario RPG games. I'll go as far as to say it's the best RPG series Nintendo's ever produced, like Fire Emblem. What the fuck is that? But we ain't talking about that trash. We're looking at the breathtaking series called Mario and Luigi. I mean, the undeniable magnetism speaks for itself. We got the beautiful, yet epic, yet exciting music from Yoko Shimomura, one of the best music composers of all time. And I will not take any Yoko Shimomura hate whatsoever. And if you guys got beef with their music, give it to me. I want all the smoke. And the very creative writing in this series that gives you a very insightful look in the Mario universe in ways you would never expect. The beautiful hand-drawn sprites that make everybody look so charming with the very awesome expressive expressions. The best sprite work goes to Superstar Saga and Bowser's Inside Story. No, you guys will never change my mind, okay? There's just so much charm put into those sprites. And those will forever be the best Mario and Luigi games ever. You will never change my mind on that either. We got a very intuitive battle system where you're not just, press and attack. And then you watch your player attack. And then you watch the other enemy attack, and then you press and attack again, and you watch your player attack. Like, bro, you might as well fucking cook a fucking roast beef sandwich, because this shit can't be any more boring. But Mario and Luigi, they make sure you pay attention all the time. Like how you gotta look both ways before crossing the road, like that much. Like you gotta pay attention when you gotta dodge an attack, or when you gotta counter an attack, or you gotta pick your attacks. But not only pick your attack, you gotta actually time your attack to deal more damage. Like there's so much stuff you gotta do. They always make sure you're on your toes paying attention what to do. It's so intuitive. Like I got a genuine question for people who prefer RPGs where you just select an attack and watch a player fight for you. You lazy? You don't like moving your fingers? Why aren't you picking Mario and Luigi over other RPGs? And come on, how can I forget about the locations? These locations are literally unforgettable. Like bro, the areas in this series have the most unique locations the Mario universe has ever seen. Not looking at you. Hey, hold on partner, hey, before you scurry off, while you're here, let's talk about what you've actually done to this series.
Court is now in session.
So there's a few things we have to put into perspective. From when Super Mario RPG came out on the SNES all the way up to Bowser's Inside Story, there has been a lot of good Mario RPG games. Nah, actually, good is underselling it. Like, these games were amazing games. Not talking about you. Alright, they can run away. I don't want to touch them. So when it was finally time for the next generation of Nintendo handhelds to come out, everybody was excited for the next Mario and Luigi game. Because at the time, that was the standard for handheld Mario RPGs. But in 2010, we found out that the Paper Mario series is coming to 3DS, which was pretty damn cool if you thought about it. Because during that time, Paper Mario was only on the home console. And seeing that it was on the handheld was pretty cool because, the 3DS finally gave us a chance to get home console quality games on there instead of games that kind of looked like N64 games. So the power of the 3DS made it possible to match the quality of the home console versions. And when we saw the footage in 2010, it looked very promising. And it looked just like the Thousand Year Door. And during that time, that was very exciting considering the last Paper Mario game was Super Paper Mario. And while looking back on the game, I do think it's amazing because I do think Super Paper Mario has the best story out of all the other Paper Mario games. It was definitely not what we were used to. The game was 2D, it didn't really have a battle system, and straight away from what classic Paper Mario was. So from what we saw, it looked exactly like Thousand Year Door, and that we were getting a new game in that style, but on the 3DS. To bring it on the go, that idea sounded fucking awesome. Then E3 2011 rolled by. Let's see how that trailer turned out. Alright, that was interesting. Alright, so you're a fan of Paper Mario in the year 2012 and you saw that after seeing the 2010 screenshots in that one video. And the reaction we all had was, surely that can't be it, right? Surely they're holding off a surprise for later on, right? Like, they gotta be saving, like, all these cool areas and all these cool characters for a later date, right? Like, they're trying to surprise us, right? That can't be it, right? Well, partners, right? Like, we saw that chain chomp in the screenshots and shit. I don't know what this weird sticker shit is, but surely that's not just it, right? Yeah, so the E3 2012 trailer happened, and it was called Sticker Star, and it was more or less of the same thing. And after the game released, us Paper Mario fans tried to find some enjoyment from it, because, you know, we love this series, and this was the new Mario RPG game at the time, and we're just trying to see if this game had anything. Anything! Admittedly, there were some good things about the game. The music was pretty good, the haunted level was pretty good. I liked the Gooper Blooper boss, and I actually did have enjoyment getting the weird parts. But that's just it. There were no cool characters, the areas were pretty bland, the story was bland, Bowser didn't even fucking talk at all, like what the fuck? You know the saying, the good outweighs the bad? Well, this is complete opposite. The bad in this game outweighs the good, and there's only a little bit of good stuff in this game and a whole magnitude of horrible shit. So why am I talking about this game when this whole video is about the Mario and Luigi games? It's because after Sticker Star released, we thought the whole Mario RPG series was just dead. We thought everything was turned to complete shit by Shigeru Miyamoto. We all thought the series wasn't ever gonna get good again. We thought the glory days were over. And we were really worried what the future of Mario and Luigi was going to be like, because, you know, we have the 3DS. Even though Sticker Star was on it, even though that was a Paper Mario game, we all knew that Mario and Luigi was still coming, because you can't have a Nintendo handheld without Mario and Luigi. But thank the lords that year Luigi was a thing. I get it. Y'all hated that year because it was Nintendo's worst financial year. Yeah, we keep seeing that. But you know what? As a Luigi Mega fan, I loved it. And the reason why it was the worst financial year was because of y'all motherfuckers. It wasn't their fault. It was yours. We were finally going to get Luigi's Mansion 2 after it got delayed. And holy fuck, as a Luigi's Mansion Mega fan, I was so excited for that, obviously. We're getting another Mario Golf on 3DS, but it was like just like the great GameCube game, if not better. But then when we randomly saw this.
First, please take a look at this. Luigi is sleeping very soundly, isn't he?
Oh my god, my nerd radar's going off. I know that yellow ball from anywhere. That's Starlo from Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, my favorite Mario RPG of all time. Wait, now I know what just happened before this. I gotta be optimistic. Yo, this game isn't bland. It just feels like Bowser's Inside Story. It felt like Sticker Star never existed. There's all this cool original shit. All these original characters. Some returning from Superstar Saga. Some returning from Inside Story. All these original areas and all these cool bosses and all the bros tags. There's so much goodness. And oh my god, we got all the original villains. Yes! Oh yeah. We were back in business. And from here on out, like at this point, we thought everything was good. And then we got an announcement at E3 2015 about a Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi crossover, something us Mario and Luigi fans always wanted. Like having all of these ideas like Fawful teaming up with Dimentio, have Paper Luigi get brainwashed again like how he did in Super Paper Mario and became Mr. L, and have him team up with Popple. And that would be fucking awesome, because Bowser lost his memory and teamed up with them, so it'll kind of be the same thing, but instead of that, it's like a Paper Mario ordeal going on now. You can have all these cool characters crossing over. And what did we get? Ah, Nintendo, you pricks. What a slap in the fucking face. We just got over the sadness of Sticker Star being bland, and we just got over the worry of the RPG series being dead. We thought Dream Team completely squashed those worries. We thought we were good. We thought we were in the clear. Nope. Doomsday was back, and his goddamn name was Shigeru Miyamoto. For some reason around this time, Miyamoto was very protective of his Mario IP. A lot of games were just resorting to being bland just to protect Mario's image and not lose sales or something. I really don't know why he thought making Mario safe was the way to go. Because making it safe is, in his mind, is pretty much making everything generic, and that is just, no. No. Shit like that is terrible. I know Mario Tennis Ultra Smash is very infamous for that same reason. And another series that wasn't safe from it is the Mario RPG series. And unfortunately, it happened with Paper Mario. And I don't know why Dream Team was able to be as creative as it was, but I really don't know. I don't know how that passed through the radar. But if he was only strict to Paper Mario, for whatever reason, then that explains why Paper Jam was so bland and boring. But it shouldn't matter which series it is. Like, no Mario RPG series should get that safe treatment, considering the whole point of the series was to stray away from the norm. was supposed to stray away from the normal themes we would see from all the characters we would see and introduce a lot of new characters to the Mario universe and tell a very creative tale. But when you strip all that creativity away, then you pretty much get the new Super Mario Bros. Series with RPG elements. And that sounds awful. That's what Paper Jam was. Mario and Luigi Paper Jam was literally new Super Mario Bros. In RPG form. The only original character that was in this game was Starlo, but Starlo is just kind of like this yellow ball that tries to act cool and sassy. And she's not even a new character. She's been your companion in the last two Mario and Luigi games. But in those games, you didn't mind what type of character she was because there's all these other cool characters around her that were brand new. So her design didn't really piss anybody off. But considering that she's the only unique character in this game that's away from the Mario universe, it's just kind of alright, whatever. There was no new original characters or bosses, right? But there were bosses that made their RPG series debut. Characters such as King Boo and King Babam, and it's yeah, it's pretty cool that they were in the game, don't get me wrong, but the fact that they were only in this game because they couldn't use anybody else is kind of a shitty excuse to finally use them. And because of that reason, it's kind of hard to be excited. Whereas if the game had actual unique bosses, and it's oh shit, alright, cool, King Babam's also here. But when King Babam's one of the only, I guess, new ideas they have in the game, when we already seen them in other Mario games, it's kind of you already know why they're here. It's because they could have used anybody else, and that sucks. And for crying out loud, they couldn't even give King Boo his Luigi's Mansion design, and it'd just be that generic Boo with the crown design? Man, just can we finally have King Boo have the Luigi's Mansion design in all games, please? All the enemies were generic, all the characters were generic. Oh, but guess what? Nabbit made his RPG debut. Yeah, you could probably imagine why, right? The worlds are all based on new Super Mario Bros. Generic Mario themes. You have grass, desert, snow, jungle, lava area. Yee! Wow, so exciting, right? No. And don't get me wrong, I don't hate these themes, it's okay to use them, but at least make them unique. Look at how the grassy level looks in Dream Team, or the snow level, or the desert level, or this beautiful jungle level. There's ways of using this theme and making it still look pretty and unique. And Paper Jam didn't do that because of this weird safe restriction. The only cool new thing in the game was the Paper Mario Bros. Attacks because they were a fresh take on the Bros system. They felt like fun minigames, which, I'll give props where it's due. But as for the Bros moves for Mario and Luigi, most of the attacks are just recycled from Dream Team. And I get that the series isn't shy from recycling moves like the shell or the fire flower, but at least each game tried to make it new. But in Paper Jam, most of the Bros moves are a copy and paste from Dream Team. There are a little bit of new Bros moves, which they're alright, but hey, I'll give props again. That giant Luigi Bros attack is fucking awesome, only because I loved and adored the giant battles from Dream Team where you're playing as Luigi, because, Luigi's my guy, I'm a mega Luigi fan, okay, I get it. But it's so awesome seeing Luigi look like a badass, his character model looks awesome, the boss battles were fucking awesome. They were much better than those stupid giant paper shits. The environments looked amazing, and dude, the fucking boss battle music for the giant battles felt fucking raw and badass. It literally felt like music for King Kong vs. Godzilla. Man, I love Dream Team. So yeah, I have a little soft spot for that Bros move. The only other good things about the game I'll say is this. The writing is pretty solid, but even then, it's hard to appreciate it when it's only coming from bland characters and enemies. And I will say the soundtrack is pretty solid, thanks to Yoko Shimomura, but those are the only good things I can say about Paper Jam. And again, there aren't many good things to say about the game, so it's pretty much the same situation as Sticker Star. And once again, just like Paper Mario fans, us Mario and Luigi fans were fearing for the series. We didn't know if the series was either dead, or we were just fearing that the rest of the games were just going to be the same fucking shit, and we were worried that our beloved creative series was gone. And then, like a beacon of hope, surprising us at E3 2017, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga got a remake announced. Literally one of the best Mario and Luigi games was getting a remake, and for the most part, everything did look faithful. And for some random reason, the actual trailer wasn't in the main presentation, but if I had to guess, they probably mainly wanted to focus on the Nintendo Switch since, it was still a brand new thing at the time. But man, I didn't even care if it was on the 3DS or Switch. I was just so happy to see the series come back to its roots where it was really creative. It felt like a chance for the whole series to redeem itself. Very similar to how the Thousand Year Door got a remake, it feels like a chance for Paper Mario to redeem itself. Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga on the 3DS is actually pretty fantastic, and despite what people say, I think it's actually better than the GBA version of the game. For starters, the game looks absolutely beautiful. Like, the visuals look fantastic. Right away, you can tell that they abandoned the 3D model worlds that you saw in Dream Team and Paper Jam for a more sprite-based map like the original 3 games. And while I do think the 3D maps of Dream Team and Paper Jam do look nice, it's really nice seeing them go back to the sprite style on 3DS, because we never got a chance to see how it would look on the 3DS, and this looks absolutely fucking stunning. With the sprite-based map that they brought back, there's one huge upgrade that this game has that the original 3 didn't, and it's the fact that it has actual lighting effects, and it looks absolutely fucking stunning. And one part about it that I actually love is that when Mario and Luigi walks underneath the light, like, they actually light up from it. Like, it's an actual light that's emitting on the map, and it just makes the whole visual style come together. It's like the first 3 games' art style being fully realized. So yeah, I definitely think the 3DS remake clears the GBA game when it comes to the visuals. And that's not to say I think the GBA game's bad. Like I said, I think the sprite work for Mario and Luigi and all the characters is one of the best sprite works in the series. But when it came to the actual world itself, you guys are gonna think I'm nuts, but to me the world just kind of looked a little, I guess, abstract almost. I couldn't tell if it was actually a wall or ledge in front of me. Like, I couldn't tell the depth of it. Like, it was hard to navigate the road, and I think the sprite work for the maps on the GBA version does not hold up at all. So it's nice to see that world get a facelift on the 3DS version, because now I'm able to actually clearly see if something's a wall or if something's a platform, and it looks far better. And on top of that, they added a lot of new details, like the lighting effects I mentioned earlier. They actually added like cool shimmering effects depending on if it's like a shiny level, kind of like Stardust Fields. Or say if you're like walking across a bridge, you can see like the wood paneling kind of moving around as Mario and Luigi are stepping on it. That's fucking awesome. So yeah, even though I may prefer the character sprites from the original game, I definitely think the map design looks awful and the 3DS version looks absolutely stunning. But even so, I do think the 3DS remake still has decent looking sprites. It still retains that charming look to it, you know, without like Bowser's crying or how Mario and Luigi is freaking out. Like, it still has that charm, but there's something about the GBA version that's so much better, and I think it's because the characters are like very like stretchy and like very animated, whereas like the 3DS games, just like the animation's not as stretchy and bouncy like the original 3 games were, and I kind of like that original style more. But nonetheless, I still think the 3DS version looks absolutely gorgeous. Speaking of the 3DS sprites, I do think the game is highly faithful to the original, but there are some caveats, like how the Air Pilot Koopas are just normal generic Koopas, which is just kind of like a weird decision, but okay. But I think the weirdest one is how they changed Psycho Kamek to be Dr. Totally, which that's the most random one, because I would have like kind of understood if they turned him into like a normal Kamek, but it's the fact that it's Dr. Totally from Inside Story, and I don't know if I should be happy because Inside Story is my favorite game, or upset, but alright, sure, whatever. But other than that, the game's extremely faithful. We still have all these cool looking original characters, so let's thank the lords that they didn't paper jamify this game. Don't you forget, you're still on trial. When it comes to the gameplay, they really modernized it, and I think that was for the best, because in the original GBA game, it kind of felt a little clunky and stiff, where you kind of like jump on an enemy and you just kind of stiffly land on them, or the hammers just kind of felt like weirdly stiff, and it just had that stiff kind of feeling to it. And I know Partners in Time kind of retained that weird stiffness, which I didn't really like. Whereas a game like Bowser's Inside Story, that's the game that kind of started the modern style of Mario and Luigi, where the battling felt more smooth. You get to smoothly do a double jump, or smoothly do your hammer attacks or bros attacks. So yeah, I created a smooth gameplay style like that for Superstar Saga, and we finally got it. Nice. You also have that Bowser's Minions mode, and for a story, it's pretty cool because you can see stuff that you don't normally see throughout the adventure. It's kind of like a side story almost, but the gameplay was just ass. It was kind of like Clash Royale, and I really don't want that type of gameplay style in my Mario and Luigi game. It's just not that fun. I kind of wish it was just the same gameplay as a normal game, but you play as minions. I think that would have been infinitely better, but I don't know. I didn't play it because the gameplay sucked ass, but hey, having a side story, it was pretty cool. So yeah, with like the weird stiff gameplay from the original game, with the weird looking maps from the original game, I definitely think the GBA game needed a remake because the original one didn't really hold up that well despite what people say. I also want to say I think one of the things that benefited a lot from getting a remake was the music, because even though I really liked the music in the original game, obviously the compositions from Yoko Shimomura is godlike, as I've been saying for every game in the series. A lot of songs did sound crunchy in the original one, so it's nice to hear them in full HD. You can hear details that you didn't notice before. For example, listen to Joke's End. those gongs you hear on the 3DS version sound so fucking god tier. Like, it's so good. And it's those type of details that you don't notice in the original game. I also find it really cool that they actually extended the main battle theme. I love that. I love when remakes do that. I know the Thousand Year Door did that with a lot of their songs too. But yeah, the remake's really solid. And it runs at 60 FPS too. Why am I saying that? You'll see why. But yeah, the game was fucking amazing, and I'm happy that it was a thing. The fucking ray of sunshine finally hit us Mario and Luigi fans again, and everything was good! Everything was good. Everything? Oh my god, bro. As a fan of a series, I never felt these mixed emotions before! Now, a year later from this release, Nintendo had one of the best Nintendo Directs in my opinion. We got blessed with Luigi's Mansion being remade, which I don't even care if it was on 3DS. I was just glad to have the game back in general. This goofy shit got announced. One of the best Wii U era Nintendo games, Captain Toad, was announced to be put on Switch and 3DS, interesting enough. It was wild to see a new Smash Bros. Game being announced, but one of the headliners of the Direct was a remake to Bowser's Inside Story. And initially, I was like, oh, my favorite Mario RPG is being remade, and my favorite Luigi's Mansion is being remade? Oh my god, this is the best fucking Direct ever! And seeing Inside Story get remade after Superstar Saga, initially that kind of looked like, alright, the series really is back. Yeah. It was back for a moment. After the smoke cleared, I was really thinking about it, and I was like, Bowser's Inside Story on DS really held up, and it did not need a remake, because as I said earlier, I looked at Bowser's Inside Story as like the first game that modernized the Mario and Luigi games. Like, that was the first style of the modernized gameplay. So seeing it getting remade kind of just had me feel like, oh, well, this is kind of a cash grab, but okay, I'm happy with it because this is my favorite Mario RPG, so fuck it. And it's understandable to assume this game would sell well since Bowser's Inside Story was the best-selling one in the series. But even then, despite that, did Bowser's Inside Story need a remake? No, it didn't, because the original Bowser's Inside Story on DS held up tremendously. First off, the sprite work in the original DS game was phenomenal. It was the most creative the series ever looked. It was the most fluent an animation has ever looked in that game. It just looked very charming. I believe the sprite work for the enemies and characters can hold a candle to the 3DS games, if not better than the 3DS games. Oh, and the environment still looked great. Like, the overworld looked fine, the levels inside Bowser looked fine. It overall looked good. Like, it's not like the GBA game where you can't really decipher where you're going. Like, no. Like, the levels look fine on DS. And despite the fact that Partners in Time needed a remake more because that gameplay was very similar to the stiff gameplay in the original Superstar Saga, I was like, you know what? Fine. I'll take it, because this is my favorite Mario RPG, so whatever. And then I played it. It really felt like a cash grab. First off, the game only runs at 30 FPS, and I should preface, I really don't mind if games run at 30 FPS, like the Thousand Year Door remake ran at 30 FPS, but, I mean, the upgrades in that game outweighs the GameCube one, so I can accept it. But when a game like Bowser's Inside Story runs at 30 FPS, when the remake that came out a year prior was 60 FPS, it's kind of a problem. And unlike the Thousand Year Door remake, I cannot accept this being 30 FPS, because the so-called upgrades that this game has from the DS is actually pretty fucking soulless. Like, okay, yeah, sure, the levels do look better because it's on an upgraded hardware, but that doesn't necessarily mean that makes the game better, because what about everything else? Well, the sprite work isn't as good as the original game because, well, it's not as stretchy and expressive, and the only reason why I was able to give the Superstar Saga remake a pass is because with some cutscenes they really did try replicating it. They didn't really try with the Bowser's Inside Story remake. Another level of laziness comes from the voice clips. I know voice clips is not really a big deal, but when Bowser's Inside Story has some of the most funniest voice clips for the cutscenes, and it doesn't have that in the remake, and instead it recycles the Superstar Saga clips, that takes out a whole chunk of the charm from the original game. Like, for example, one of my favorite scenes of Bowser's Inside Story is when Mario and Luigi is trying to fake an illness to get into the doctor's office, and Luigi, being the goober he is, doesn't know any subtlety, so while Mario's trying to play it cool by doing a slight cough, Luigi's doing a scream in agony while reaching out for help, and it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
But in the remake, his voice clips were just very calm. They were just random voice clips, and it didn't make sense at all, and it ruined the whole scene.
Yeah.
There are, like, very few voice clips that return from the original Inside Story, and when that part was coming up, I was just hoping that they brought back the voice clips for that scene at least, because of how important it was, but no, they didn't, and that pissed me off. And remember how cool that intro is to the battles?
Let's go.
Okie dokie.
It doesn't have that cool flow anymore. Instead, it has this.
Let's Let's go.
Okie dokie.
That right there is terrible. That just sounds completely awkward and it just completely ruins it for me. At the least they brought back Bowser's Showtime. But it's only if you walk into enemies. Weird, but okay, whatever. I guess I'll take it. So right off the bat, some of the parts from the original game is not faithful. One cool thing I will note, because I gotta give props to it too, is that Starlo has her original text sounds from the DS version, and I actually prefer those sounds over the 3DS text sounds they gave her, so cool. But what the fuck, dude? The music even got fucked up, and Yoko Shimomura, I love and respect you, but this game wasn't it right here. No. Just some of the instruments just don't hit the same as the sound farms from the DS game. Like, one of my favorite songs in the game is Fawful Theater, and I love the part that goes like this. In the remake, it sounds like this. It doesn't have the same sound in my opinion. Now, not all the songs have been butchered, but some of my favorites has. I also think the boss theme doesn't hit the same, but at least they didn't fuck up the final boss theme. That sounds pretty great. They knew that's the one they couldn't fuck up. Dude, even the giant bosses look fucking ugly. Like, compare it to Dream Team, the lighting isn't the same, the models just look lower quality, the visuals just look very cheap. You can just tell, with this whole game, it was just a rush job. So unlike the Superstar Saga remake, this remake just felt like it had no love put into it. It just seemed like they didn't care about it at all. They just wanted money from it. Which was really weird considering the original Bowser's Inside Story was the best selling one. So you'd imagine like they would put extra care into it, but no, they didn't. The only thing in this remake that remotely had any type of care put into it was the Bowser Jr.'s Journey mode, which again, I couldn't give a fuck about it because I think the gameplay is ass just like the Bowser's Minions. But again, side stories are cool. I love it. We see the Koopalings in the game. But I'll say this. It's really cool that they introduced brand new characters to the Mario and Luigi series just for this mode. And for the sake of world building, they actually included one of the characters in the cutscene of the normal game just to make everything feel connected. So I do like that. But like I said, the gameplay's ass, so it's like, no, I couldn't care about it. This game was a cheap cash grab, and it shows because unfortunately, Alpha Dream went bankrupt from it. Fucking Miyamoto! Ever since they announced the trailer, I always thought it was weird, like they are already releasing a new remake? Like, no doubt, they definitely made this remake like minutes after Superstar Saga was done. They had no time to make their money back from the Superstar Saga remake, and they spent the last of their resources on Bowser's Inside Story. And they were probably hoping that they were going to get a return on their investment because, well, Bowser's Inside Story was the best-selling game in the series. And how ironic is it that the remake is the worst-selling one in the series? And it's not because Bowser's Inside Story is a bad game, but it's because Bowser's Inside Story was a perfect game. It did not need to be remade. As I previously mentioned, the game held up. It was the first game in the modern style of Mario and Luigi. Partners in Time was far more deserving of a remake. It just seems so crazy to me that Nintendo never even bothered buying Alpha Dream. I don't know why they didn't think Alpha Dream was worth it. Dude, look at Next Level Games. Nintendo bought them, but they only bought them after Luigi's Mansion 3, even though Dark Moon was a huge success, even though they made all the Strikers games. They waited till Luigi's Mansion 3 to see if they were actually worth it. And you know what? Fair enough. But considering Alpha Dream started making these Mario and Luigi games in 2003 as an alternative to Paper Mario, which I think is better than Paper Mario, with 5 installments and 2 remakes, this was a beloved series that fans adored. Man, I adored it. I'll forever adore it. And seeing Alpha Dream go bankrupt really gave me mixed emotions. I was both sad and angry at the same time, because I feared that Mario and Luigi will never come back, and considering that's my favorite Mario RPG series, that hurt. That's on the same level of Nintendo potentially getting rid of Luigi's Mansion. Like, what? That can't happen! But also, it's not like Nintendo couldn't have prevented this. Either they could have bought Alpha Dream and kept them in business and kept them making all these games, or Miyamoto could have been like, hey, you guys don't need to make this remake because you guys literally just made Superstar Saga, so instead of wasting your resources, keep it. Save it for a new installment. And you know what? I'm gonna buy you guys so you can keep making more. But no, that couldn't happen. You were the motherfucker that was the beginning of the end. I think I reached a verdict. Mario and Luigi Paper Jam is found guilt. Wait. Say it ain't so. No way, am I dreaming? Oh my god, my nerd radar's going off again. I know the art style from anywhere. That's the art style from Mario and Luigi, my favorite RPG series of all time. Wait, I gotta be optimistic. Wait, you know what? Fuck that. I don't care. I'm just happy Mario and Luigi's back. And from the looks of it, everything looks creative and charming just like the good old days. Holy fuck, man. We are so back. Mario and Luigi, Brothership. Wow. It's just so crazy speaking the words of a brand new Mario and Luigi game. Mario and Luigi Brothership is the first Mario and Luigi game in 9 years. But if you ask me, it's kind of like 11, because I consider Dream Team the last legit one. I'm just saying. And everything looks phenomenal. This game feels like it's just a follow-up to Dream Team. It feels like Paper Jam never existed. It just feels like the first original 4 games, which are goated. And if the first original 4 games are goated, that means Brothership is also goated. To begin, I want to say, I absolutely love the character models. Mario and Luigi look fantastic. First off, I love how they based it off of the artwork for this series. I'm glad that didn't change. And I love how it looks like the models that were used in like Dream Team for like the giant battles, because you know how much I love them. It looks just like that. It just looks more expressive here. Like the animations Mario and Luigi have in this game is actually very reminiscent of the first 3 games where the sprite work is very stretchy and bouncy. And as I said before, that's probably the best animations that the game has ever had. So the fact that the animations for these models are perfectly emulating the same style as the first 3 games' animations is fantastic. Because as much as I love Dream Team, that game and Paper Jam, the animations from Mario and Luigi just, I don't know, they didn't feel as expressive as the first 3 games. But Brothership is bringing back that overly expressive, stretchy, bouncy, charming animation style from the first 3 games. And the fact that they're having 3D models look like that is quite impressive. I love the models in Dream Team for the giant battles, and I love the stretchy, expressive animations from the first 3 games. So when you combine that together, it's like the best of both worlds. Like whenever I would envision like a Mario and Luigi game on a home console, it was exactly like that in my head. So I'm glad it's a reality. Dude, I'm glad this whole game is a reality. Cause look, we're going back to the good old days where we have original, crazy, new, wacky enemies we've never seen in the Mario universe. Look at these new NPC characters. Look at these new weird enemies. Some returning from Dream Team, some returning from Bowser's Inside Story. Look at these new villains. It's all cool, new, and awesome. This is what I've been preaching for. Look at the environments too. Like everything looks beautiful and unique. These are not new Super Mario Bros. Levels. This is also what I've been preaching for. I like the new mini games that they have you doing here, and they're even bringing back the rhythm mini game from Bowser's Inside Story, and that was my favorite mini game in that game. So fuck yes. Now I don't know who's composing the music in this game. Nintendo has yet to confirm that, but if it is Yoko, sure, alright, I can hear it. That second song in that trailer is such a banger. It's so catchy. And I can see that being one of my favorite songs in the whole game. It has that same catchy style as Yoko Shimomura. So even if the composer of this game is brand new, at least they definitely captured Yoko's style, which is really great. But yeah, we have yet to see confirmation. What Nintendo did confirm, however, is the fact that they actually brought back the Alpha Dream devs for this game, which is, yeah, I was asking for them to do that. Bring them back. Have them create a new Mario and Luigi. Like, I'm sure if a new developer made it, alright, I'm sure they could make it great, but if you really wanted to make it feel like the good old days, bring the original devs back. And they did just that, so that's amazing news. Now, as for if it's called Alpha Dream again, or they moved them to a new studio, that's yet to be confirmed, but that doesn't matter to me. We already know the Alpha Dream dev members are back, so yeah, we're eating good. From everything we've seen in this game, dude, this more than makes up for Paper Jam. This more than makes up for the flop of the Inside Story remake. This looks like everything I've been waiting for since Dream Team. And from what Nintendo revealed, this game is 10 gigabytes in file size. To put it in perspective, not only is this game double the size of the Thousand Year Door remake, but this game is bigger than all the previous games combined. Oh, we are eating good. It just feels very euphoric to finally have a new Mario and Luigi game on the horizon. It is good to be a Mario and Luigi fan, and I can finally say with confidence, everything is good again. We are finally back in business. Oh, wait. Oh, Paper Jam. We got a new game announced. You're free to go, man. are so back.